81% of white evangelical Christians voted for Donald Trump in the 2016 elections. And even as he gets sued by porn stars and playmates, their support for Trump remains virtually unchanged at 78%. To get a better sense of what's happening, we need to understand that white evangelicals in America feel like they've been losing a culture war for decades. They believe that America is, or should be, primarily a Christian nation. And recent studies show that the more someone believes this, the more likely they are to support Donald Trump. Because of this belief that Americans should be a Christian nation, white evangelicals feel that society has been heading down the wrong path, further and further away from God. As a backlash to the counterculture of the 60s and 70s, many white evangelicals, especially in the South, tried to isolate themselves from the rest of American society by creating their own private schools and institutions. But when the federal government began to regulate their schools and revoke their tax-exempt statuses, they were jolted into political activism and became very active in trying to influence government policy. Over the years, this movement evolved into the current version of the Christian right. Today, white evangelicals feel like they're constantly under attack. 57% of them feel like Christians in America face more discrimination than Muslims. And every year, a bigger share of them thinks that it's becoming harder to be an evangelical Christian in the US. White evangelicals feel like they're losing cultural influence, and naturally, this freaks them out. It also doesn't help that demographic projections show that whites will become a minority in the US by the year 2045. All of this brings us to Donald Trump and the 2016 election. 2016 was the first presidential election where white Christians found themselves clearly in the demographic minority, with 43% of total voters, down from 54% in 2008. As a result, many evangelicals saw this election as possibly their last chance to influence American culture through Supreme Court nominations and long-term conservative legislation. Simply put, evangelicals see Donald Trump as a means to an end. If Trump can help them regain some of their lost cultural influence, in return, evangelicals will defend or ignore his moral failings. Many white evangelicals believe that Trump is an instrument in God's plan, even if he's not particularly religious himself. So what can you do? The easiest thing you can do is understand that white evangelicals in the US are really just freaked out. They're mostly supporting Trump out of fear of being irrelevant in a fast-changing society. Their support for Trump will not drop until the root cause of that fear is addressed. What we can do is continue to lead by example with values like helping the poor and loving our neighbors, and hopefully our example can build enough common ground to help reduce this collective fear. Fighting against the changing world is a losing battle, and society is only going to get more diverse. At the end of the day, we can all help move society forward without compromising our values. Peace.